Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be discussing an upgrade that I just released for AITP Prop Trader. It is Monday, April 17th, 2023. So before I discuss what the upgrade is, let us set up the actual trade, and it is within the chart itself that you're going to see the actual upgrade that I've made. All right, so here's what the setup was. Let's go back to the beginning. So data grabber is what I use to grab the data that I need. I'm going to be grabbing data for CL. I'm doing so between September 1st of 2022 until 04/15/2023. I believe that should be enough data. Usually 2 to 3 quarters is enough data. The data that it is going to be grabbing, data grabber is going to be grabbing, is price and volume data. Price data is broken down into the 4 major components of price that every data broker has, and that's OHLC, that's open, high, low, and close prices, and of course the other piece of the puzzle is volume. And then once I grab that data, it's going to create a file name automatically for me, and I just have to copy and paste that file name into AI Trend Predictor, and that is the file name that it automatically produced. All you have to do is Control C, that's copy, Control V it into this terminal, and the AI Trend Predictor terminal, and hit enter. It's going to run it for you. It's going to read, got it, utilizing your machine's cores concurrently to analyze the CSV results in output.txt, txt, best wishes and thanks. And then it's going to print out the actual results in the terminal that you can use. And again, my rule, as I've noted in other videos, my rule of thumb is to always look for a minimum threshold of 60%, okay, for whatever direction. Now, what is that 60%? So the AI Trend Predictor's model, based on the patterns that it picked up from the data that we trained it with, using the CSV file that contained that data, it made predictions. That is on the left side of the dashes, okay? Wherever you see dashes, the left side has the prediction. The right side has an accuracy percentage score of that prediction based on historical data. So essentially, the statistical model is going to check back to see how often the model itself was right when it made that prediction based on those exact patterns for the exact day that it ran it for. And so for hour 5, you'll notice it's up. It shows down, and it shows that it has a confidence score, which is how I think about it, of 66.67% on this prediction of down at the 5 a.m. hour. And these are Pacific Standard Times. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, when you set this up, you want to take the initial half hour, okay, at the most, okay? Some may want to take the initial 20 minutes or the initial 15 minutes to be even more sort of granular and tight with the prediction. I'm picking half, okay? But you definitely don't want to use the entire hour, all right, in my opinion. It's up to you how you want to use it. But based on the tests that I've run, the initial half hour of the prediction is good. One could even argue even less than that, like 15 or 20 minutes of that hour is also good too. So it all depends. Do your own back test and see. So I'm going to put in 5 to 5:30. I'm going to choose down, okay? Anytime you want to do a setup, you want to go through all of these cool features. I'm not going to discuss all of them. This video will be at least half an hour if I do. So I'm going to try to rush this as much as I can for you guys so that I can get you the most amount of information as to the upgrade. And I'll make other videos as to what the other pieces are, and I've done that already, but I'll keep making those videos to make it more and more clear for everybody. So I'm going to keep all of this stuff the same. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to change that. Risk per trade, 10 ticks. No, I want even less than that. Okay, 8 ticks. All right. 8 ticks means that I'm taking $80 worth of risk per trade, excluding slippage, which I'll add. So now we've included slippage. All right. So I am taking essentially $80 plus slippage of risk here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to protect the unrealized profits, the unrealized peak profit. All right. Why? That is the most challenging part any prop trader will face, whether they're trying to pass the evaluation or they have a funded account and they're trying to maintain it. Okay. And not have to start all over again, which many prop traders unfortunately do. Okay. So to maintain that, the prop trading firms are counting the drawdown threshold from the unrealized peak price, the unrealized peak profit of every trade you enter. Okay, to many that's counterintuitive, but that is how it's being done. That's how they calculate it. Their money, their rules. All right. So I'm going to say, since my risk was 80, I'm going to, let's say, I'll just put 150 here. It's about double. That's almost 2x. And then to make the numbers easier, I'm going to say 20% off. What does that mean? The trailing percentage for short trades, I'm going to put in at 20%. I'm not concerned with the long right now because I've only selected short here. Okay. Go short, AI prediction short. All right. So what that means is, if let's say we have at least $150 of an unrealized profit in the trade that we're in, upon the close of that bar, the stop is going to be moved to 20% away of the unrealized peak profit. Now, the unrealized peak profit, the minimum has to be 150, but there is no maximum. So it could have been $500, okay? If we're 20% away from the peak unrealized peak profit, then that means that the stop would have been in that scenario, if it's $500, it's going to be $400. The stop would be at $400 because the peak profit, the peak unrealized profit was $500. I hope that makes sense. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, but let's make sure it's just for today because the prediction was just for the next 24 hours. And I ran it, as you saw, on Monday. Only for Mondays, and I stopped on 4:15 because I did not want to include this Monday that meets today. So I wanted to get all the previous Mondays, not including today, between September 1st and April 15th. All right. So let's go ahead and go back to that. All right. And I am happy pretty much with the rest of this. Okay, let's go and run it. Let's see what we've got. I'm sorry, I put 416 here. That's why I got zeros. My apologies. 417. All right, that got an actual number. Rafi, pay attention in your videos. My goodness, man. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens. So it entered the trade right there, and it shows this is the new part, guys. Okay, that's the new part. Unrealized peak profit of last trade. Now, if it's in red, it means you have an unrealized profit, but you were in a short trade. If it's in blue, that means the font color is blue. That means that you were in a long trade and had unrealized profit. Please, guys, don't confuse this with a negative of any kind, okay? It's just red. It just means that you're in a short trade, okay? If I get 3 people who email me and say, Rafi, that confused me. I thought that meant that I'm down or I have a negative number. I'm going to change the color, okay? My rule of threes applies, all right? So it had $170. Therefore, it now triggered the stop moving mechanism, okay, the custom stop logic. So the stop, since it was 8 ticks away, and since the entry price is $81.92, that means that the stop was at exactly $82, okay, at 82. Boom, right there. Okay, that's 82. The system, the automated trade management system, AITP Prop Trader, is going to move the stop if our rules are being met, and they are. It's 170 is more than 150, right? And so it moved the stop down to right there. So this is the 170 price that it's talking about. That price right there is 81.75. The entry price was 81.92. That's exactly 170. It's $10 a tick for CL, okay? If you're new to this, various instruments have various tick prices. Sorry for those who are not new to this, but let's just help out everybody. And so $12.50, for example, for the popular SPOOS ES instrument, $5 for NQ, $5 for RTY, so on and so forth. Make sure that you guys know your ticks, the tick values, and so that the math becomes correct when you run any type of a back test, and it becomes easier to understand. All right, so it hit 170 right there. We've added slippage, guys, okay? Plus, even if you ignore slippage, we have to be 20% away from that peak price. What's 20% of 170? The easy way of doing that is just say 170, multiply that by 80. On your calculator, you get 136. Can we move the stop to 136? No. Why? Because number one, I've added a math rounding feature to the calculation. Why? Because of exactly such situations. It's $10 a tick. I cannot move it to 136. If it's $10 a tick, that means it's going to be 170, 160, 150, 140, 130, etc. All right? And so it moved it to 130. All right, that's the profit that you booked. I hope that makes sense. This is a nice feature to have, guys, because it will essentially very clearly tell you where you're at in the trade. Okay, so you can see this is only, again, for the last trade. So if you had other trades here, here, okay, it's not going to, this would not apply, all right? It only applies to the last trade that you're in. We don't care what happens in history, okay? Neither does your prop trading firm, okay? You can say, I used to be the greatest of all times. That's great. You know, what have you done for me today is what they're going to say. And so they want to ensure that their rules are being followed, their drawdown threshold rules are being followed, and this is going to help you in that. Now, how is this beneficial? Well, in NinjaTrader, of course, they'll print the unrealized profit, but that changes, right? They are constantly updating that tab that shows you where you are in your P&L, but it never prints and keeps it printed there so you can see what the peak price was. So if this was a slow moving market and it was 170, and then you quickly notice that it's going to 160, not quickly, but then you notice it's going to 160, 150, you know, this is going to stay printed. Okay, that 170 last peak price, that's going to stay printed. Well, guess what? That means you have now an opportunity to, even if you didn't set it up here so that the system does it for you, if it was a crucial type of a moment for you where if you don't book it, then you could lose your evaluation or funded account, okay, the status, I should say, then, you know, this is a decision where you as a trader have to make and see if you want to override the automated system and just manually exit and then be done for the day. Okay, so that's an option that you have. Now that it's clearly printed for you, you can always keep an eye as to what it is. So whatever the peak price is, which is going to be calculated and printed at the close of a bar, is what's going to be printed here. Now, why do I keep stressing close of the bar? Unfortunately, many of the other trading systems that I've seen on NinjaTrader, not all of them, some of them are excellent, but some of them are unfortunately using they're not using closed bars. They're using tick bars, custom bars, Renko bars, Heikenashi bars, and so on and so forth. They're not calculating on the close of the bar, which makes the back test obsolete. So you'll hear them say things like, oh, ignore back tests, guys. They don't work. In their strategy, it doesn't work. That's correct, because their strategy is not using, is not calculating on the close of the bar, and it is not using minute bars. I'm not specifically stating 1 minute bars. I'm saying minute bars in general, okay, whether they're 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, etc. If they're using tick bars or if they're using Renko bars, the back test might look beautiful, and I have a whole other video dedicated to that. It looks gorgeous. I mean, it makes you want to say, you know, where's Lambo, okay? But the truth of the matter is the back test is obsolete when you're using any type of a custom bar or a Renko bar, Heikenashi bar, tick bar, and or if you're calculating not on bar close, okay? You need to calculate on bar close. If you do, like my strategies do, all of them, then the back test becomes accurate. Okay, the only thing that you have to be concerned with is slippage at that point, and you just have to measure the slippage for the typical slippage a particular instrument has. CL, typically it's 1 tick. NQ, okay, the NASDAQ futures, typically it's 2 ticks. All right. For Bitcoin futures, typically it's 7 ticks. All right. You have to sort of customize it based on, you know, you look at the close bar and you look at the next bar's open price and keep doing that during like regular trading hours just for, you know, spot check them and see what the typical difference is. Okay, you'll find like on the SPOOs, it's usually 1 tick. On CL, it's usually 1 tick. On NQ, it's usually 2 ticks. Does that mean I'm saying it's always 2 ticks? Not at all. I'm saying usually, typically it is. Okay, so it all depends on which instrument, and obviously, you know, if you're trading on a Fed Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific or 2 o'clock Eastern, yeah, expect incredible volatility. Expect 7, 8 ticks slippage on any instrument, 10 ticks maybe, okay, on any instrument, because the volume becomes anemic. The volume dries out. Why? Because a majority of those algos get turned off, okay? People turn off their algos waiting to turn it back on until after he's done, okay? Or after the release, or potentially after the press release is, not the press release, the question and answer session is done, okay? So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope this new feature is helpful to you guys. I'm going to keep developing new and helpful different elements that I think is going to make AITP Prop Trader it is already a fantastic tool, but make it even better for people. It has fantastic defensive mechanisms, modulate break even, money management. You can never trade without proper money management, both on profit and loss side. You got to watch both. I've seen people say, I only care about my loss, and other people say, I only care about my profit. No, guys, you got to look at both, okay? Profit and loss. So if you have an X in profit, then stop trading. If you have a Y in loss, stop trading, so on and so forth. Maximum number of trades, very important, so that if, for example, in this example here, if I had 8 ticks and I put this at 10 maximum, that means 10 maximum trades per session. The most I can lose is 80 ticks, guys. Okay, that's $800. So that's the worst case scenario. If all of my trades, all 10, were all losers, okay, I didn't get anything right, okay, I got all of it wrong, then the max loss would be 800 in that scenario, okay? So you can control it. So if you wanted to have far less risk than that, put 4. Now your max loss is 32 ticks. 4 times 8, that's 32. Times that by 10, $320 plus slippage. That's your max loss. You can now be in control of that if your system doesn't allow that. This is also very cool, consecutive loss switch. So let's say you had both selected, 5 and 530. What this is telling the system is, it's saying, system, if you have 2 consecutive losses in any directions, switch. Don't keep going for that same direction, switch, okay? And so if it had 2 consecutive short losses, it would look for long trades if long is selected. If it had 2 consecutive long trades that were losers, then it would switch and look for short trades, okay? Very helpful tool. Move stop is going to move your stop. Let's say you put it at 0 bars. That means right after you enter that trade, if this is selected, if you're up, let's say, by 30 ticks, it's going to automatically move your stop and get you out of that trade, okay? If it's up at least 30 ticks or more. Okay, and then of course the adverse price, that only does that if price moves against you. Okay, cool features here. Risk per trade, which is here, that's pretty obvious. That's your stop. Profit target, that's a limit order. That's obvious. Contracts, how many contracts do you trade? 5, 10, 15. Put that number in here. Very simple. Okay, flatten everything. It's going to flatten you out. Okay, at 12:59 is what I've set it. You can put any time that you want, as long as it's obviously makes sense, guys. Right? Don't put a time that is before the time that you enter. And so make sure you give some time for the trade to breathe also, all right? I usually like to leave it right near RTH, okay? For me, it's 12:59 is what it's set, RTH close, I mean. And so that is pretty much what this system is all about. You have 3 potential entries that you can make in any direction, and you get to choose by the day as well. So the most impressive part that is, I think, fantastic in helping prop traders not just pass their evaluations, but the key is passing evaluation is step 1. Okay, that's the easy step, guys. The next step is you want to make ultimately money, right? God willing. So you want to maintain your funded account, because if you don't meet the threshold in your funded account, guess what? They make you start all over again. Okay, so you have to go all over again and start all over again. So this is key. This is custom logic. This is not a trailing stop. Okay, that is not going to work. If it was a trailing stop, guys, we would need like custom logic. This just this is about 200 lines of code. Okay, because there's more than just what you see here. There's also, what if you have a price that's already gone? The stop, that means price has moved beyond that stop that you have put it, even if you have at 20% away from peak price. What if that price is that stop price is no longer available? Price moved so quickly that it's not there. Well, that requires even further custom logic. In my case here, what I've done with AITP Prop Trader is I move it, if you're in a long trade, to the current bid price. If you're in a short trade, to the current ask price. Okay, so it automatically moves it and gets you out of that trade. Okay, so this is very impressive, in my opinion, and a very helpful. Okay, I don't want to, I'm not patting myself in the back here, guys. I'm saying it because it's impressive, because I feel it helps you, the prop trader, to pass and maintain your accounts with your prop trading firm, to pass that evaluation and maintain your funded account, or accounts, as many people have more than one. Okay, I hope this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. If you want to contact me via email, for example, if you want to have custom logic built in, I've said this in other videos, the entry logic, I've deliberately made it beyond easy for a trade to enter, because the strategy essentially, whether to enter a trade, what time and what direction to enter a trade, is coming from here, AI Trend Predictor. So that's where the strategy is coming from. But what if on top of what you see on AI Trend Predictor's prediction model here and the accuracy score, beyond that you had some more rules that you wanted to add before you enter the trade, more than what I've got, which is my system right now is essentially, I don't call that a strategy. That's why I'm calling this an automated trade management system, not a strategy, because the system essentially is entering on long trades if you have a green bar followed by a red bar. It enters short trades if you have a red bar followed by a green bar. Okay, that's it. That's the rule. I mean, one other rule that I have in there is if you have RSI extremes, then it does not enter the trade. So RSI above 80 on long trades and RSI below 20 on short, or 20 or below on short trades, then it will stay out of that trade. Look for RSI to improve. So other than that, that's it. But if you have a custom entry logic that you want to deploy and add to AITP Prop Trader, shoot me an email. I'll get you a contract so we can, then you'll give me all of the rules that you have. I will program that in for you and give you your own version of AITP Prop Trader, your own custom version of AITP Prop Trader, so that you can have it set exactly the way that you want it, okay, as far as the entry logic goes. So the entry logic would be, for you, this plus something else that you have. Okay, so you would use this to select your entries, but before it actually enters the trade, you want X, Y, Z to happen. Okay, I can do that X, Y, Z programming for you so that it is custom to exactly the way that you want it. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful. Until next time, take care of yourselves and God bless.